As we begin another week of our Wonderful Day in the Lord broadcast, we're picking up in Job chapter 21, exactly where we left off last week. We left off with this question that Job is posing basically, is what is up with God? You know, I'm going through the ringer here, and I don't deserve this. And yet I look around me and I see people who are living in defiance of God. They're living wicked life. Their lives are doing awful things. And yet God lets them get by with it. He doesn't bring judgment upon them, at least not immediately. They're doing quite well. They're living quite well. And Job looks at his life, and he's not living very well. His life is a mess. He's in deep pain. He's lost everything that he considered important to him in this world. He has these friends that are dogging him and jumping on his case. He's not appreciating them at all, and that's not helping the cause. His wife has told him to curse God and die. This man is about as low as you can go, right? And so this is where we're at. And Job is not growing in the insight into the ways of God at this point. He is following the worldview of his friends to a large extent, believing that the wicked should be cursed and the godly should prosper. But he does see around him that many of the wicked are not suffering at all. And so he is challenging his friends on that score. On the other hand, he doesn't see himself as deserving of any of this stuff. And so he is defying God himself in a way. And so the question is, what's up with God? So what's Job working on here? We drop down to verse 19 in this passage, and he's talking back to his friends. He said, "You say God stores away a man's iniquity for his sons. Let God repay him so that he may know it. Let his own eyes see his decay. Let him drink the wrath of the Almighty." So what Job is saying this, his friends are saying, okay, maybe in this life, some of these wicked people are going to skirt through and they're going to do just fine as long as they're alive. But eventually, they're going to reap what they sow. If not they personally, then their family, their sons, and so forth. So down the line, they're going to get it. I remember a friend of mine years and years ago who felt like he was wronged by another friend in a business deal. He came to the place where really he couldn't resolve the issue. And so, in a sense, rightly, he did this. He turned it over to God, and he says, the Lord is going to bring vengeance on this person in the future. The Lord is going to right the wrong. But there's a point to that was very right. He let it go, and he let God take care of it. But he also had a point in his head where he was expecting that eventually God is going to show the right here and going to vindicate him and bring some kind of judgment on this friend of his. Well, that could be, and it may not be, because we don't know all the circumstances with that. And we do know God is going to right all wrongs eventually, and he is the avenger of one of those who do wrong. But at the same time, we don't know exactly what God's plans are for the future. Job is quite convinced that even if the wicked get by with it, or his friends are quite convinced, even if the wicked get by with it, their family will suffer in the future. Job's not so convinced. And if that does happen, he says, who cares? The wicked need to see right now the consequences of their behavior. And if they did, perhaps they would straighten up, or at least they would suffer as he's suffering. So there is where Job is at this point. And so we go down to verse 23 and 20 to 26. Here's how he sees the wicked doing. He says, he doesn't see life as fair. He says, one dies in full strength, being wholly at ease and satisfied. His sides are filled with fat, and marrow of his bones is moist, while another dies with a bitter soul, never even tasting anything good. Together they lie down in the dust, and the worms cover them. And so in this life, those who have prospered and done well, and those who have not, those who've suffered a bitter life, a bitter experience, they both suffer the same ultimate consequence of death. They both eventually die and turn back to dust. Where's the fairness in that? Job is saying. And he's not looking to the future reward here. Perhaps he has little insight into that. He's looking at what is going on in the earth right now, and he doesn't like what's happening. So when we put all the pieces together, here's what we see. Job is upset. He's angry. We understand that. Probably we would be there too, or at least be tempted to be. But he's starting now to ever so slowly challenged the very integrity of God. God's in control. God's allowing these things to happen. God is not fair in life. Job sees that, and God is not fair to him. Where is the fairness? Where is the integrity of God? That's where we leave Job today, and we're going to see Eliphaz's answer to that tomorrow in chapter 22. So I hope you can join us as we look at that.